$11,000 on his first deal in Dallas, Texas. Hello guys, this is Ty, aka the Flip Man. Here's your opportunity to take advantage of this actual interview where a student shares his actual journey of closing his first deal. This student's journey is going to be a little different because he had been a real estate agent for over 10 years but knew nothing about wholesaling. Wow, most agents don't know. You know more than them. But again, here's an opportunity to take advantage of his story. Maybe you can use it to fast forward, move forward with your own journey. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications so you are alerted when new videos are uploaded and when I go live on YouTube. Stand by. Let's get it. Today is a really good day because I have a student here that is willing to share his story and how he closed his first deal as a wholesaler. So here's an opportunity for you to learn. I'm going to take you right into it. No house cleaning as I normally do, so we're going to get right into it. Reggie, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can hear you.
All right. My man is out of Texas in Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. So, obviously wholesaling works in Dallas. So how's it going, Reggie?
It's going well, man. It's going well. I wind up doing my first deal, so I'm hyped.
All right. All right. That was a couple of days ago, right?
Yeah. Actually, we closed out on Thursday. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. So, what I like to do is I like for people to go into, how they got started. And so just an open-ended question. How did you get involved in real estate?
I'm a real estate agent already. I've been doing it for like 12 years. And I get a lot of investors and they always closing deals and make way more money than what we do as the agent. And I just never pulled the trigger on it. And then just start watching your videos.
All right. So I guess you stumbled onto my information. I'm assuming I'm not the first person that you came across, though, am I?
No, you're not. I came across several people, but I kind of like the way you broke it down for me, so I can understand it, because I understand real estate a little bit, but the wholesaling, flipping, that jargon was just a new avenue for me. And the way you just kind of just simplified it and just say it doesn't have to be rocket science,
Correct. Well, that's good. So let me ask you this. As an agent, what were you accustomed to as far as the type of properties that you were able to get commission on? What were you dealing in properties in the 5-figure, 6-figure range, or what were you accustomed to dealing with?
No, our average price point in our area is about 130 to about 140,000. You get 3% of that, so you probably bring home about 4,200. But then you got to split it with the broker and everything else that comes out. So you're not even making that 4,000. You're really making 3,000 something off a deal, So our average check, you probably make about 3,500, 4,000, somewhere up in there.
Okay. All right. So I know you have to split it with the listing agent in most cases. So it goes from 6 to 3. And with the brokers, and I've discussed it with on some of my other videos, and you don't have to put your business out there, but how is that normally determined? Is it 60-40? Is it 80-20? Is it 90-10? 70-30? How does that scale work?
Well, it depends on which brokerage you're with. So, say for example, I was with Keller Williams. I don't know if I can say that or not, but I was with Keller Williams for a while, and and they take 36% of your check. So we get 3%, and then they take 36% of your 3%. So, some brokers do different. So then I switched over to another broker to where I pay them a flat fee, and it worked out much better for me.
Okay. I think our audio quality is a little shaky on here, but that's fine. So you're saying that when you were with Keller Williams, you were getting a 70-30 split is what you normally were receiving?
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. So, but that's not why we're here. That's just out of interest, curiosity myself. I knew it worked in that format or whatever, but okay. So obviously you were involved in deals where I'm assuming you had investors that would buy, fix, and then retail the property. Were you involved in wholesale transactions also? Like, what is this right here? Or did you ever really, were you aware you were involved in wholesale transactions also? If you could explain that.
No. I have a few investors that I work with, and they come in, they want me to find properties, or they'll find properties, they'll take it down, they'll rehab it, and then I'm usually their exit strategy. So they want me to sell it, list the house and sell it for them, right? I've never done a wholesale before, ever. I meant even though I was in the business for 12 years, I was kind of green to wholesaling. Like, I didn't know about wholesaling until last year. Start hearing about it more and more. And then I was like intrigued by it when one of my investors wound up closing a deal. And then I look at the HUD statement and she was killing it. And I was just like, what is going on? Checks were just basically just two different ball games.
I got you. Okay. So would you say, and I'm sure you know a lot of agents, would you say that most if you lined up 10 just random real estate agents, I don't care what market, it could be in your market or around the country, how many of them you think know what wholesaling is?
Randomly, 10, if I ran about, I say 2 out of 10 maybe know what a wholesale deal is. I've been in the industry 12 years and I really didn't know what wholesaling was.
Now, on the surface, it sounds like you're doing the same thing as a realtor is doing, and I guess technically you are, because you're putting sellers and buyers together. But what separates you, a wholesaler, from a realtor is that the wholesaler actually injects himself into the actual deal because he placed a purchase and sales agreement on the property. See, that's what confuses agents. And I say, well, you need a license for that. No, you don't know what you're talking about. Just say, I don't know. Don't say you need a license for this. You just say, I don't know what you're talking about. I never heard of that. They don't do that because they're supposed to be experts. They're supposed to know everything, but they really don't. They know how to be an agent. They may not know how to be an investor. But I just want to, you are not outside of the norm of most agents just don't know what wholesaling is. That's why I encourage students really not to target agents to help them that much, because you know more than they know. and it's best to contact the listing agent because, and you can attest to this, is that if you contact the listing agent directly about a problem, which dealing with agents is a whole nother ballgame, but just for the sake of while we're talking about this, if you contact the agent directly, that gives them an opportunity to make that entire 6% because they can represent both sides of the transaction. Am I right? Am I thinking on that?
That's correct. That's correct. And what happens is, as an agent that's representing the listing, the seller, it's a big difference between 3% and 6%. So their motivation is trying to make this deal work at 6%, a lot higher than 3%. And I'm telling you, because I'm an agent and I've been there, and that is what motivates them to try to get the deal done. And as a wholesaler, you truly have to take your hat off as an agent. As an agent, you will warp your way of thinking as being a wholesaler. So I had to kind of like push my mindset aside for as being an agent and think about this as I'm another entity, another investor now. So that's the way I kind of look at myself, as an investor and not so much as an agent when it comes to that realm.
Well, so let's get into this first deal that you did. Just start with from the bare bones of how did you even get the lead? We'll just start there at the bare basics.
This is my first wholesale deal, and I was I remember one time I was looking at one of your videos and you said, hey, no, I think this is when I bought the system because I was watching your videos. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Go ahead.
Right. I was watching the videos, and then when I bought the system, you said something in the system that kind of gave me a nugget. You said, hey, once you put out your 100 signs and you send out 100 postcards, then you should start seeing traffic, right? So I was anxious to try to get to that 100. So every Friday, I'm just like hitting the pavement, and I got my sign. Can I show my sign? I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah, make it happen.
So that's my sign, and I just wasn't nothing creative about what I did. I just bit exactly what you did. I just bit it and just changed the number. That's all I did. And but I said, okay, he making it work, so I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel. I'm gonna do that. And I got my kids out with me on Friday nights, and we run across the street putting signs out. But we didn't do them we did them like you had showed us to do it, which is a little different. So I started hanging them up high, and it was about, I guess, 4 weeks, and I was getting a bunch of phone calls, but they was all wholesalers. So I was getting a lot of wholesalers. The numbers on their house wasn't working. They wanted too much money for it and that type of stuff, so that didn't work out. Then I got this wholesaler call me, and he said, man, I got this deal in Fort Worth. Here are the numbers. Can you make this work? And I said, ask him condition of the house and stuff like that. Numbers look good. I said, okay, this might be the one. Drove over there, seen the house. It was a brick house. I said, oh, God, this is the one. So it kind of made me excited a little bit. And then I went in, and he introduced me to the seller, and he backed out of the picture. The wholesaler introduced me to the seller and said, hey, you do it. Because he was a novelist, too. He was new at it. And this was his very first deal. He did. And so I went and negotiated with the seller, straight just me and the seller. And I had to by me being licensed, I had to let the seller know that I was a licensed agent as well. And just talk to him. And the seller wife just passed away, like last year, something like that. And so he was an older guy. He said, man, I just want out. I just want to just move out of this house. I don't want to deal with an agent. I don't want you to be an agent. I just want to just give me cash for this house. I'm like, okay, I can make that work. And as soon as I got the deal to negotiate, I started marketing the deal. So my first investor, cash buyer that was going to come in and buy it, we was on a hook, and like 3 to 4 days before closing, she backed out the deal. And now I'm back on the table and trying to scramble to get somebody to actually, pick this deal up, because now my contract is coming to an end. So I'm like, Lord. So I went back to the seller, got an extension on the contract. He was okay with giving me 10 more days to come to closing. And then I wound up getting another cash buyer that came in and closed in like 3 or 4 days. So she kind of like saved me on that end, but she was cash and ready to go.
Well, how are you finding your buyers?
Same way. The bandit signs again. She called me from off the signs. So she was looking for houses. And so it was just putting these people together. So she was looking for houses. I was looking for houses. And then this guy brought me a house. And so I just put them two together.
So basically, your I Buy Houses sign that you just showed us produced the seller and it produced your buyer.
That's correct.
Wow, that's what's happening. That's what's happening. And I guess all of us have experienced it. If you're getting calls from your bandit signs, you're going to get other wholesalers and actual cash buyers to call you, say, hey, if you find anything in such and such area, blah, blah, they will do that. And, I haven't talked about that a lot. I don't even think about it because I guess I've been getting those type of calls all the time, but that's how I've generated some of my cash buyers. I've never even thought about it in that way. And but maybe I never had it to happen that quickly, and so I never put it together that that's the way it's happening. Yours actually happened within your actual first transaction. Your I Buy Houses bandit signs produce your seller and your buyer. Wow, that's amazing. Let me ask you this. I know you're a realtor, so your process is going to probably be a little different than people that are not a realtor. But how did you know this was a deal?
numbers. It's just, you got to be number driven. You got to know. I knew what he wanted. He wanted 51,000 for the house. So okay, at 51,000, then I would wind up going and do some research, and I guess you got to find a realtor because I'm a realtor, so I just knew how to run the numbers on it. And what I did was, I knew that the house was worth like close to 100,000 in that area if it was fixed up and ready to go and everything like that. So I knew that was a good deal based off the numbers that I ran. And it's just doing homework, just doing your homework.
Okay. So you didn't try to negotiate him down a little bit, or you knew that number would work?
No, this is the great question, because when I was first presented with this deal, he presented it to me saying that the house is in great condition. The seller told me, hey, this house is in good condition. I'm the only owner that ever owned this house. And, the house is in really good condition. So he wanted 61,000 is what he originally wanted. So when I went there and looked at the house, I said, man, his kitchen is countertops is bad, appliances is bad, and it was dated. Even though he's the only owner, he's been owner since 1974. So it was real dated. And then carpet was different colors in every bedroom. So I walked through it and explained to him and said, hey, we got to do all this work to it. So I can't give you the 61 for it, because then this deal wouldn't be working for me. I said, so what is the best that you can offer me? What's the best deal that you can accept? And we had a long, long awkward pause. Like, we just sat there and looked at each other. Well, I'm talking, it felt like eternity. But I refused to be the first one to give up a number, right? So I was just sitting there, and I was just saying, I was going to sit here. I'm just going to sit here, and I'm sweating. And he said, well, give me a number. Just give me the best number you can give me. And I said, well, I just trying to see where you at. He said, what about 55? And I said, 55 is just like, I can't do 55. I said, the best I can do for you is like 51. And he sat there and he thought about it. And he said, okay, if you can give me 51, then I can walk away with it and we okay. And that's how we come to 51. So I went from 61 over the phone to, when I seen the property, we went to 51.
Boom. Well, there you go. Okay. So now let's get to, well, let me ask you this. You say you had a buyer that backed out of the deal. How did you find that buyer?
Okay. Now, this buyer was a buyer that I've been knew. She's been an investor for me doing real estate in the regular real estate world. So she's been an investor. So when I first got her, I said, hey, I have a property over here that's in good condition. It just needs some lipstick on it, cosmetic work done to it. Can you run your numbers and see if there's something you're interested in? She came out to the property and she said, hey, this is a great deal. I'd love to do this deal. And then she couldn't pull a trigger. Well, her hard money lender did not want to give her more money because she actually had 3 properties under contract that she was doing at the time. So they didn't want to, couldn't get the finances to do the 4th deal, which was my deal. And so she backed out. She didn't want to tell me, but I was like, it's better to tell me sooner than later. Don't leave me stringing along for so long. And then she backed out like 3 or 4 days before the deal was supposed to close.
All right. Now, so you have the second buyer in place, ready to go. So let's talk about, you had went through a lot of closings. Did you have any issues finding someone that would do an assignment of contract or however you closed it? Well, let me ask you, how did you do it? You did an assignment of contract or you did a double close?
No, I did an assignment of contract. And the good thing is I went to my title company and I asked them, I say, hey, what is the best way for me to close this deal out? And I remember you said, hey, sometimes you do a double close just because, if you're making X amount of dollars, you don't want everybody to see how much money you make and stuff like that. I think that was you or somebody, another video I was watching.
Yeah, that's somebody else. Because I tell you, okay. I don't care what yeah, go ahead, though.
I watch a ton of videos on it, man, and read books on it and stuff. So sometimes my sources get a little mixed up. But I wind up doing an assignment. The title company, the attorney, want to do business with you. They want to do business with you. And so I told them what I was doing, and I told them how I had it set up. And I asked them, say, hey, what is the best way for me to get this thing done so it could be right, so I could do this right? And I sat down with the title company, and they walked me through how to do the assignment fee and get everybody dispersed and paid and everything.
Okay, so they were familiar with it. So your buyer didn't have an issue with you choosing who to close the deal?
No, buyer or seller didn't have an issue at all. Only thing the buyer was worried about is, was it a clean title? That's the only thing they worried about. No liens or encumbrances or no kids coming back. They just want a clean title, and they don't care who do it.
Yeah, of course. All right, so we you're getting ready for closing. Was everybody sitting at the closing table, or how was that structured?
This was a little different. I went with the seller to the closing. So me and the seller sitting at the closing table and signing the paperwork, getting everything done. He's happy. I'm happy he's happy, because one of the main things that you have to realize in this is that you are helping people. You know, it's like you're providing a service for them that they didn't know how to get out of. So you just solved the problem for them. And the guy was like, thank me, like, man, thank you for doing this. You know, you just helped me out a lot. So I sat at the table and closed with him with his signing. The buyer was actually, she didn't even come to closing. They did a mail out to where they mailed her stuff to her. She signed off on it, then FedExed everything back. So then everything, wired her funds over to the title company. So all we had to do is wait for that FedEx to come back with all the signatures, because the money was already there.
Oh, okay. So when you and the seller showed up, the money was there and the buyer had already signed everything off. Oh yeah, that's beautiful there. So it was an out of town buyer?
Well, she's still in our area, but Dallas-Fort Worth is like huge. Like, to drive from one side of Fort Worth to the other side of Dallas, we're talking about maybe an hour drive. So she just didn't want to drive it.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Okay. All right. So boom. So you pick up your check. The seller's happy. You're happy. The title company's happy. And the buyer's happy. As I tell people on closing day, everybody's happy. That's why they do not care what you make, because everybody got what they wanted out of the deal. Is that your experience? What you experienced?
Everybody was happy. Everybody was happy at that closing day. And I actually had to just go to the parking lot and say, woo, I just felt good about that one. Everybody happy.
Oh, I don't think we discussed how much did you, well, I know how much you made, but tell them how much you actually made on the deal.
Now, that was a $51,000 property, and I wound up selling it to the other investor for $62,000. So I made $11,000 off it. Now, but not the whole 11, because I had to pay the wholesaler on that deal. So they did. So,
all right.
I don't know.
Yeah, repeat that. I can see on my screen we have some technical issues. Repeat what you just said.
On that deal, I bought it for 51 and sold it to them to that person for 62. So I made 11,000 on that deal. But I had to pay. I had to pay the wholesaler. I had to pay the wholesaler that found the deal. I had to give him $1,000 too.
Okay.
So I really didn't.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. You paid 1,000 to make 10,000. We'll do that. I do that every day. If I can get it. Okay, there it is. Okay, that's your receipt right there. Okay, that's what's happening. Hey, that's what's happening right there. Oh man. Okay. Well, what's next for you, Reggie? What's next for you, man? If you want to share with people.
The irony is the bandit signs, even though they take them down, right? These things I done developed relationships with several wholesalers, and they're texting me now. Like just today, I wind up getting 2 more texts with some other houses that we got to go look at, and I'm gonna go look at some like this week, like tomorrow and Tuesday. So try to see if the numbers work and try to get another one in.
Yeah, that's what I say with wholesalers, that they contact you about a problem. I treat them just like they're a seller. I got to have some level of control in order for me to get involved with them. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. You don't have to do it that way, but that's just me. And basically, that's what would happen with you. You took control of the deal. You know, now this guy sounded like he was desperate and he was glad to get that 1,000. Did he know? Does he know you made that much off of it?
No, you don't. You don't know that.
Huh?
No, you don't know that.
He may see this video there. That's cool. That's what's happening. So, Again, what I was, well, I guess I cut you off. So what's next for you? What's next for you?
Just finding some more deals. That's what I'm actively looking for more deals. Just looking for more deals. See if we can get something else under them.
I'm assuming you're married because before we started this, you put your kids in a different room or whatever. Well, what did your wife have to say about it? What did she have to say about it?
Get some more like that. She want me to get some more like that.
What'd you say? Okay.
She want me to,
so how are you gonna ramp up your marketing?
That's a good question. In my area, I was gonna devote some of it to buying these small billboards. Right, it's like these little billboards on a main street, and like about $180 a month. Right, and so I was gonna pay for like 6 months of it in advance. And
no, don't do that. I got something better for you than that I'm sharing with students only. Yeah, I thought I already no, I guess I didn't text it to you. Did I text it to you? I didn't text it to you.
Yeah. Is that working real good?
Oh my God, yeah. Hold up on that. Don't release that. That's for students only. So if you're a student, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you just hit me up. A lot of them I contacted because they, I'm interacting with them. But anyway, don't do that little billboard thing. I got something better than that for you. All right, but anyway, so but yeah, man. But we're gonna go ahead and end this up. I really appreciate you taking the time out and sharing your story because this really does help people, man. Everybody's journey is different. Yours is a little different than some others because you already were an agent, but you've been doing it a long time and didn't even know wholesaling existed. So if you'd like to just give people any advice as far as what they should do, they don't have to sign up with me by no means or whatever. But if you just want to give them just some basic advice on what they should do if they're struggling with the business or whatever their situation is, if Reginald had to give them advice, what would you tell them?
For someone that never closed a deal before, I would say go to dirt cheap signs, get you some bandit signs, and you have to put in the work. It's not like it's gonna come to you. It's not gonna come to you. It's gonna come to you only if you put in the work. So you hang out 200 bandit signs and try to do 100 a month or 200 bandit signs a month. And if you do that for 2 months, because now, let me just say this too. I started doing that, started putting my signs out in January. I just closed my first deal this beginning of April. So it wasn't fast. The deal was fast, but the deal didn't come to me fast. So just don't get discouraged and keep on working at it. Keep working.
Great advice, man. Yeah, better advice than I could have ever given anyone. Great advice, man. So again, Reginald, man, I'm really excited for you. And hey, man, sky's the limit, man. I want you to get out there and kill it in Dallas. I really appreciate you sharing this information with us all, and we'll check you on the next go around, man.
Can I say one more thing? One more thing. All right.
Yes, sir.
I watched a lot of your free videos, right? And I was just engulfed with the free videos, all the information. And then I said, okay, well, let me pull the trigger and buy your system, right? And I think you had a sale going on for like, I don't know.
Yeah, you got it for 200. Yeah, you got it for $297. I went back and looked at it. You got a bargain. Hey, then he made 10 grand. 10 grand on it total after he paid the wholesaler. What a return on investment. Why do they do that as they say?
No, man, that was a great investment right there.
Yeah, but
no, I just say that was a great investment.
Yeah. So, all right, man. But I really appreciate you sharing this with people, man. You'll see it up, everywhere. You know how I do it or whatever. But everybody don't want to be on camera. When I had a couple of students contact me over the last couple of weeks and they weren't interested, in doing an interview or whatever. So I really, really appreciate this because it really helps people, man, to see that, hey, just normal. Ain't no special person or anything about doing this business. It's just taking action, man. You got to have a degree of patience, because what works in Dallas may not work in Birmingham. You know what I'm saying? Now, bandit signs can be standing if you can get them to stay up. You know, that's part of what you have to figure out. It ain't the only way you can find deals, but I can guarantee you it's going to be hard to find anything more effective. So your job is to try to make them work, you know, in your market or whatever. So again, man, I appreciate you sharing your story with everyone. Again, I hope it helps well, at least one person out there to move forward and take action, and let's make this money.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Reginald, and we'll see you all on the flip side.